Hey Vikings, I'm Will Zwerneman, the assistant editor for the BHS Norseman, and with me today is Christopher Collins to talk about one of his hobbies. Thanks for being here with us today, Coach Collins.
Thanks, Will.
So, you have a pretty unique hobby, I would say. Can you tell us a little about what you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well, this is kind of a long story, so I'll start with this is something that is passed from father to son, from father to son. So I grew up in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Greatest time in America
Absolutely, gotta agree
to have
with that.
lived.
Yep.
I'm a straight up Gen Xer, and my dad was a old school dad, Texas A&M class of '59. Got out of the Army, had me. So I grew up with a kind of a strict military background, even though my father wasn't in the military anymore. And in the 80s, all the veterans from, say, World War II were still in their late 40s, 50s. So you could meet them, you could talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up watching Patton, Guns of Navarone, World War II, playing with Army men, G.I. Joe. And my dad encouraged us. And so he and I started building models when I was a kid. And I built them and hung them from the ceiling of my own room. And so we'll fast forward to when my son, who's now 21, but when he was 8, 9 years old, I tried to introduce the same thing to him. And he's a really good history student also. And so what I did is I started building stuff from Hobby Lobby with him, and we put him on his dresser. Well, I look up, and he's 14, 15 years old, and hey, to Dad, I'm a big kid now. I want to put sports posters and all that stuff in his room. So what I did is I took the models from his room and hung them above my classroom desk.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, then I looked up, and it's the spring of 2021, and my kids are both, one's in college, about to get out, and Kyle's going to graduate the next year. I got to have a hobby, or my wife's going to kill me. So I said, well, why not build models more to decorate my room and start hitting a lot of golf balls? I got to have a post-kid, dad, coach career. So I started building in the spring of 2021, and when I left Consol last spring, I had 57 hanging from my ceiling.
Yeah.
Again, about 40 of those came with me here. Even though I'm teaching health now, I figured someday I will get back in the history business.
That's cool. So you said you started like at a very young age when your dad started teaching you. What age do you think you?
I probably was 7, 8, or 9 years
7, 8?
old.
Okay.
Kind of like about the same time I started with my own son.
Yeah. And like, so you're saying your dad was real big in the military and stuff. Did this ever have like an impact on you, like military lifestyle?
No. That's one reason why I became a history teacher. Is my dad. My dad was a great American. My grandparents were the greatest generation, lived through World War II and the Depression. That's the kind of people I was raised around. I'm very pro-American, love my country.
God
And
bless
this is
America.
my way of, especially when I taught history at Consol, to further the idea of that, these machines and airplanes have a huge role in history. And it gave the kids in my class something to look at when they came to the class.
So how has like history and like the historical concepts of the past, how has that had like an effect on your like model airplanes and how you like build the airplanes?
Well, having great history teachers growing up, and I'm a history minor. I've always loved history. I've loved aviation history. Growing up in Duncanville, Texas, which is in South Dallas, there were 3
Powerhouse football school, ain't they?
Oh yeah, big time powerhouse football. We were pretty good baseball, pretty good in other things back then. Grand Prairie Naval Air Station is with a stone's throw. Carswell Air Force Base in Fort Worth. So I saw planes flying over the house all the time. That's just something I've always enjoyed. As a history teacher, I try to read. Building these models has made me read voraciously. I've read quite a few nonfiction books in the last 5 years since I started this. Every time I build a plane, I buy it, I research it, I find everything I can about the pilot, the unit, the part of the war that was in. And I knew a lot of this stuff beforehand. I've just become, I guess, more knowledgeable than ever before on some of this stuff.
So you try to incorporate as many features as possible into that?
Yes. Like I do all the historical research I can to build it. And, I build them, and I build them all in flight, hanging from the ceiling. My kids at Consol, it freaked them out at first when I didn't have a pilot in the seat. So they said, Coach, this is like a ghost flying this plane. So I started putting there's actually a painted pilot in every plane.
That's cool. So this is a 2-part question right here. So how long does it like take to physically make each model?
If I do them really well,
Yeah.
It probably takes me about a month.
Really?
Now, there's some of the old guys I know that take 6 months to a year to do one plane. I'm not that patient yet.
And how long does like the research take to build the
Well,
plane?
I usually either research before or during,
Yeah.
and
So
like
there's
I said,
crossover. There's crossover between the research and the
oh yeah.
building. Okay. And so what's the most challenging part of making the models?
Well, they're small. I do 1/4 scale, and you can go the 1/72 scale, which is fairly small, to up to the 1/35 scale, which is much, much larger, obviously. The 1/48 scale is what I built when I was a kid. I feel like they look good on the ceiling, not too small, not too big. They're not quite they're in the middle price range. I mean, modeling has gotten quite expensive since COVID.
Yeah.
Every kind of hobby you can imagine that people weren't doing, they started during COVID. So it went from being a fairly cheap hobby to people now know what they have.
Yeah. So you said your father helped teach you, but how did you learn to actually make the planes? Like, would y'all go to a lumber yard and take wood and stuff?
Oh, no. Okay, well, I got to explain this to you. These are molded plastic planes made out of styrene, and they've been making model planes probably since after World War II. They come on what they call sprues, trees, all connected. They're all numbered, kind of like a paint-by-number deal.
Oh, okay.
And the instructions are pretty detailed, and you literally build it from the parts and glue them together, and and then you sand them down, and there's gaps in the plastic. You fill them with little putty, and then you prime it and you paint it.
And that's the in-depth creation we're looking for right there.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of all that? Like, what would
I enjoy all of it. Coming from a pretty high stress job. I mean, not only am I an educator, but you know what I do after school. During the fall, I coach football, and during the spring, I coach baseball. And this is one way for me to relax. Also, as an adult with ADHD, this really does a good job of calming me down, kind of gives me something to think about. But again, you talk about having to have something to do in your spare time. I read, I watch documentaries, I watch movies, I listen to podcasts, all of this to just become a better modeler, you might say.
Yeah. So which airplane is your favorite, like both model and real?
Well, I told you, I'm a big World War II guy.
Yeah.
That's the one I have always enjoyed. I think that's the last great war where we were the good guys, and they're the most colorful. They have the most what we call nose art. I mean, the pilots back in the day and their crew chiefs, they painted unique things on the nose to identify them, to personalize them. So I've always enjoyed the World War II planes. I think they're beautifully designed, and they have beautiful, what they call lines to them.
Yeah, I really like the.
I probably like the P-47 Thunderbolt.
P-47 Thunderbolt.
Yeah, it's a rather large fighter.
That's good. And which one's your favorite building?
Well, I built close to 75 in the last few years. I don't know if I couldn't really tell you which one's my favorite.
Like, which one do you hold above all? Like, which one have you dedicated the most time to and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I don't think I can answer that one right now.
Okay, we'll just move on. How do you think a hobby like this benefits you? A grown man with ADHD, how does it benefit you?
Well, as you get older, Will, and I'm not old. I just turned 53, but you've got to do things to keep your mind sharp. And this definitely, it's a concentration thing. It's a follow the directions thing. It's be patient. I think any kid, especially kids y'all's age, would benefit from having a hobby that you use your manual dexterity, you use your brain, you use your creativeness. It's a great hobby for someone your age to pick up.
Are you planning on creating like an elective or like even a class or a club for like students who are kind of interested in modeling?
Well, I've always wanted to start a club. I think we have so many clubs here at Bryan High. We had clubs at my last school. There was just never time. Again,
yeah, that's fair.
As busy as I am as a full-time coach, as I get older and later in my career, I would love to start this. I think this would benefit so many of our students. And it wouldn't have to just be planes. There's many different things you could build, and I think it would really crack open the creativity and the things like that our kids have. I do not doubt that if I started this, I would have lots of people want to participate.
So like an architecture class or something?
No, it's just I think it's just an after-school club. Come in, build once a week, every other week.
So you're involved with a lot of different groups who enjoy history and making models. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Well, I got on our local building club is on Facebook. It's just the Aggieland Modeling Club, and you'd be surprised. It probably wouldn't surprise you. It's a bunch of older guys, college professors, business owners, and they just kind of folded me in, teaching me the tricks of the trade, because there are a lot of really upper level techniques that I'm just now, after doing this for 2 or 3, 4 years now, truly learning to build. The guys that I have met, they build masterpieces. They build pieces of art out of models. I'm just still making them for class, and I think they look pretty good from 10 feet up in the ceiling, but they're not perfect. The guys that I've met and become friends with in this club, they build true art pieces. It's really cool.
Are you going to try to like advance to that level, or are you just going to keep that?
I would love to get to the point where maybe I build in inner contests. I think that'd be a lot of fun. It's like any other niche hobby. I think there's a lot of joy of doing things with other people who enjoy doing the same thing and have a passion for it. It's all, life's about having a passion about something. I love trying to tinker with my golf swing. I love building models. I love spending time with my family, and I love coaching my Vikings.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Coaching football and baseball.
Football and baseball.
Especially in baseball. Let's go Vikings, yeah. So what advice do you have for others who want to get into making models?
Find your passion. If you enjoy building things, I mean, there's I don't care if you're doing puzzles, you're building models, we have such a great art program here at the school. Models are just another avenue for creativity. Some people like seeing a 3D product versus, say, on a canvas product. I enjoy building it, seeing it come together. There's nothing like taking an empty box full of plastic parts, cracking off the label, and then a month later having a finished product that looks like it, quote, should. Looks like it does on the internet when these old masterful model builders do it. I find a lot of satisfaction in doing my best.
And like finishing it and just having a
And also, if you screw it up, if there's small mistakes, those are your mistakes. And I think that the models only has to be perfect to the one guy, and that's who built it. Everybody else usually just appreciates it.
All right, well, Coach Collins, thank you so much for being with us today, and we can't wait to see what you build next for your model airplanes.
Well, hey, all you got to do is swing by my room, and they're hanging from the ceiling.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.